Good morning. I'm Annie Bennett, worship leader here at Open Door. And this morning I would like to read from Matthew 16, verses 5 through 12. Right before this passage, Jesus had been confronted by the Pharisees and Sadducees who came to test Jesus. They didn't believe that his authority was from God, and so they would ask him a lot of questions. Well, Jesus pretty much told them that they were evil, and he left them and went on his way. So here we are in verse 5. Later, after they crossed to the other side of the lake, the disciples discovered that they had forgotten to bring any bread. "Watch out," Jesus warned them. "Beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." At this, they began to argue with each other because they hadn't brought any bread. Now, I can just imagine what this argument sounded like. Maybe something like this. Philip says, "Andrew, you should have brought it. You found it last time." And Andrew says, "Well, Peter should have thought of it. He likes to eat every 5 minutes." And Peter said, "I don't have time to think about bread. I'm busy protecting Jesus. You know all the trouble that he gets himself in." And John, "You should have thought of it. You're always hanging around Jesus doing nothing." And then John would say, "You know that Jesus likes me better than anyone else. I actually pay attention to him. Judas, he keeps track of the money. He should have gotten the bread." And then Judas says, "Well, we don't have any money, so why would I think of it?" And I can just imagine the argument going on, and there's Jesus looking up and saying, "You have such little faith. Why are you arguing with each other about having no bread? Don't you understand even yet? Don't you remember the 5,000 I fed with 5 loaves and the baskets of leftovers you picked up? Or the 4,000 I fed with the 7 loaves and the large baskets of leftovers you picked up? Why can't you understand that I'm not talking about bread? So again, I say, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." Then at last they understood that he was speaking about the yeast in the bread. That he was not speaking about the yeast in the bread, but about the deceptive teaching of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Now, a few things that stood out to me in this passage were that the disciples got hung up on a physical need, and they took their eyes off of Jesus, the one who could provide the need, and they wasted time arguing with each other. And then they couldn't understand the spiritual teaching because they were so focused on the physical things. But here's the cool thing. When they finally turned their focus back to Jesus, the argument stopped and they understood the spiritual teaching. Now, this was a great reminder to me to check my focus. We can't really understand the things of God when our focus is on the world. My favorite way to refocus my mind is to sing worship songs to the Lord. And praying and reading the Bible, listening to spiritual Christian teaching, Bible teaching on the radio, those are all good ways to get our mind refocused. The Bible says, beware of deceptive teaching that can lead you astray. Remember that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, so focus on Jesus.